But until that happens, I'm going to instruct her not to answer.
So on your advice of counsel, you're asserting privilege.
I'm telling her not to answer.
I'm clarifying with the witness.
She doesn't have to answer that. I'm not a potted plant. I can answer.
You can advise. You can absolutely advise your client, Governor Barnes. I'm asking your
I
client.
suggest you move on.
I'm asking your client if you are asserting privilege on the answer to the question.
I made the objection on the record and told you even what you can do to enforce it.
What was the total cost of the election interference case?
I don't recall, but if we want to talk about cost, I'd love to talk about how last year alone the AG paid one lawyer $8 million.
You don't know what the cost of you don't know the cost of the election interference case?
I don't know the exact cost.
What's the range?
I don't want to speculate to numbers. Whatever it cost, they tried to steal the rights of thousands of Georgians. It couldn't have been enough.
What was the rough total operating budget of your office last year?
I don't know that. It's probably around $40 million. That's a speculation and a guess. That includes state money, grant money, and that's not an exact number. I don't do the budget. I have very high-level conversations about that.
Okay. Can you give us a rough breakdown of that, the county budget and the state budget?
I cannot, and I'm not going to guess for you.
Does the federal government give you any money?
I do have some grants, yes.
The only source of federal money you get is from grants?
To my knowledge, I don't. There may be something else. We may have some federal seizure money. If we do, it's not much. So I don't know. I don't want to speculate. If I say, oh, they gave me grant money and this federal seizure money, and you find some line item someplace that I don't know, you'll swear I was trying to lie to you when the truth is I don't know the correct answer.
I'm just trying to get to, I know you run a tight ship over there, you're proud of your work. I would assume that you would have
I'm the best
some sort
DA in the Southeast. Why wouldn't I be proud of my work?
What's your annual budget?
I told you it's around $40 million, but I do not know an exact number.
And what's the approximate source of funds that you receive from the state versus the county?
Me, like every other district attorney in this state, do not receive enough funds. I told you that you all pay 20 to 25 ADAs. I don't.
All right, so again, that was that Georgia State Senate hearing where Fulton County District Attorney Fonnie Willis faced some questions from senators. All right, that is our show, our live impact news stream. Stick right there. Don't go anywhere. Panthers on the Plus with myself, Nick Carboni, starts in a few minutes. And over on our secondary stream, President Trump, you can hear him speak. He is addressing the nation tonight at 9 o'clock. You can catch that on our secondary stream. And again, here on WCNC Plus, Panthers on the Plus. We'll be back here shortly. Welcome, man. Panthers on the plus. I'm Nick Sturtevant. We're doing it live. And I'm here with Sports Director Nick Carboni here in studio. What's going on, man?
What's up? I figured I'd just pull the string on Nick Sturtevant and he'd just go off for 30 minutes about the Panthers because I know you have a lot of opinions and thoughts on your Panthers. But excited to get into it. It's really fun to be talking about the potential for playoffs here right ahead of Christmas. We haven't had a chance to do that here for the better part of the last decade, yet here the Panthers are 7-7 and their division rival 2 out of the last 3 weeks.
Why do we have to make it so hard?
Well, that's the fun part, Nick.
Why?
Derek Brown said in the locker room after the Saints loss, this is the way we like it. And he obviously wanted to beat the Saints, but I think what he meant was this is a team that has a lot of grit. They have a lot of fight. They're still building out their talent pool on the 53-man roster, but have certainly improved it. And, you know, they're gonna face adversity head on. And just when you think they're down and out, they're going to surprise you. They've done it multiple times this year. Win at Green Bay, a dud on Monday Night Football at San Francisco. 6 days later, they turn around and beat the best team in football, the LA Rams. On the flip side of that come the games like you had at the Superdome and the first game against the Saints, which I thought was worse. Neither of them helped the Panthers in their current situation. But, you know, when you think about it this way, like the Bucs and the Panthers are both 7-7, right? They're both a very different 7-7. People in Tampa are ticked, and Todd Bowles is coaching for his job right now,
Which is insane to say, right?
Yeah, and they've won. They could win a 5th straight division title. Now, if they don't, then I think he's out. But in Carolina, it's year 2 under Dave Canales. You've seen improvement. You just haven't seen the consistency. They're probably above where anybody expected them realistically to be by week 16, yet they're kind of sinking themselves every other week by losing in this letdown fashion. So there's frustration because of that, but if you really zoom out, big picture, you know, hopefully they get more than 7 wins over these last 3 weeks, but they've got a chance for 10 on a division title.
What's the read inside the locker room for Canales? Because it's hard for me in my fandom. This is probably the most complex team. Like I can't really. So I don't know the identity.
So
of the
I'll take
team.
you inside the locker room for a minute, but just think about this. Like this is a 500 team, so by its very nature, it's going to be an up and down season. Now the Panthers are like the truest form of a 500 team you could have in that after that 3-game win streak in October, they've won, they've lost, they've won, they've lost. They've gone 500 ever since. And the way in which they've done it by beating teams that nobody thinks they should and then losing to teams that nobody thinks they should, it's been very volatile, just extremely, swings in either direction every 6 to 7 days. So I think that's why for the fans and for the national media at large, they've just kind of thrown their hands up in the air and said, we don't get it. But it's a team that, for the most part, is young. They have a good nucleus of veterans that they like, that they've kept around. But it's a young team around that. It's a young head coach in terms of his career progression and his play calling. It's a young quarterback, Bryce Young in his 3rd season. He's 2 years younger than the Saints rookie quarterback that's beat him two times this year, which is wild. So it's a team, you hear learning how to win. Like they're trying to figure out, like, okay, we had that big victory on Sunday. How do we take that from Sunday to the next Sunday without dropping the ball? So hopefully they can find that, because now they have to be consistent. They have to really win 2 out of these next 3 in order to make playoffs.
In an ideal world, win all out. I mean, win the last 3. I mean, win against.
That'd be great. Yeah,
that would be
absolutely.
great. But with this team,
do we expect that? They had the 3-game win streak in October. You're talking about non-playoff teams in that scenario: Dallas, Miami, and New York. So it would be tough to do it against the Bucs, who are 4-time reigning division champs, and the Seahawks. If you're talking about a total 3-0 close to the season, the Seahawks are a playoff team and potentially the team that could travel to the NFC South winner in the wild card weekend.
2 former quarterbacks.
No, not just that, Nick.
Yeah.
Think about this. So you got Sam Baker to close the season. God forbid if Baker goes down this Sunday. Do you know who trots in for the Bucs?
Oh, don't.
Okay, I'm not. You don't have to reach that far back.
Really?
It's not Cam, unfortunately.
I know, that's another conversation there. Oh my goodness.
He's a high school coach. He's not Phil
Oh,
Rivers.
Teddy Two Gloves.
Teddy Two Gloves will
Oh,
be. Teddy
what?
Two Gloves will be in the building.
I
Buccaneers
forget that
signed-
Teddy was a quarterback here.
He was a high school football coach for several years, but yeah, that's an interesting component to all this too. The Panthers trying to figure out if Bryce Young is their franchise quarterback, while seeing familiar faces of quarterbacks who they discarded in the last handful of years as well.
Quarterbacks of Christmas past.
Yeah, I was making that joke all week. It's like don't get haunted by these guys. That's for sure.
All right. So, before we move on to sort of the injury report, it was funny. Somebody asked me this team, how is there another team that I can compare it to? And I'm like, this has been the youngest team we've had in forever, the youngest coaching staff we've had in forever. I can't compare it to any other team. I guess since you've been here, have you been able to kind of compare
No,
this
not really
team?
since I've been here. I got here after 2016. They had the playoff season. Then you had the season that started great, but then Cam got injured, and then you had Ron Rivera's final year, and then obviously it's been tough to crack even 6 wins since then.
Yeah.
I've heard people compare it to Ron's second year, where they kind of backed their way into a division title late in the season.
But they had some
or
veterans.
improved late in the season, but not since I've been here. Like this wild swing week to week is very unique. That's for sure. So maybe we'll see another team like this in the future in Carolina. But with all these factors, plus you factor in trying to figure out if Bryce is the guy at the same time, like there's just a lot of layers to it.
I'm going to ask you that later, Bryce's guy. I'm going to hold off on that question.
Yep.
That's what we call a tease in the news business. Injury report. We got some guys that...
Yeah, I think we have it if we can show that.
I feel like the Bucs are getting healthy at the right time. And they're
the Bucs perimeter is getting healthy, and they've got some really big weapons. I mean, Mike Evans, future Hall of Famer, he's back. Missed a good chunk of the season. Chris Godwin, he's available now. Bucky Irving, their running back who ran roughshod over the Panthers' run defense last year. He may still have some yards to eat up at Bank of America Stadium, but the Panthers' run defense is a lot tighter than that this time around. They have the rookie Egbuka. I believe Cade Otton might have been on their injury report this week, but I think he's fine. But the offensive line in Tampa is patchwork. I mean, they've got a guy elevated from the practice squad named Mike Jordan who was floating back and forth between the practice squad here 4 or 5 years ago. So they're patchwork. They've got guys out of position up from the practice squad. Baker's been sacked 10 times in the last 5 games. Carolina has had trouble generating pressure. My big prediction is they're going to send J.C. Horn in for a corner blitz. They're going to send Trayvon Merrigan for safety blitzes. They got to really be aggressive, I think, to get after Baker, who's banged up. But if we are looking at the injury report right now, 4 Panthers, and 2 of them were surprising, did not practice on Wednesday. So you see rookie receiver Tetairoa McMillan on there. Dave Canales kind of indicated that he got rolled up making a run block in the Superdome. And the most concerning one is left tackle Ike Ekwonu, who's had a great year, and he needed to. He's got something going on in that knee, and they've taken images, and right now he's day-to-day. But I'll let you listen to these 2 guys talk about their injuries and their availability for this week because it seems like 2 different stories.
It's been lingering for a couple weeks, but sure, as long as I can go on Sunday, I'm good.
I mean, that's kind of something you got to work through, throughout the week. Kind of answering those sort of questions, and I just trust my training staff and trust everybody that's out there helping to try to protect me.
On the flip side of that, how do you weigh the pain versus knowing the Sunday is essentially a playoff game?
Yeah, those are all factors that go into my decision that ultimately I'll have to make.
Yeah, that's it's not promising on Ekwonu, I can tell you that. We'll see what the injury report holds tomorrow. The Bucs have a decent front. The back end is where you take advantage of Tampa. But Ike Ekwonu, leaving against any team is not good for this team at this time of year. And he was asked about, he's had other injury. He had an appendix removed right before the season. He's had other injuries right before big games. And I know that's disappointing to him. And he's been a good protector of Bryce Young this year. And he's also a big part of the offensive line's push up front in the run game.
And offensive line that's similar to Tampa. I mean, patchwork. I mean, we've gotten guys. I can't even tell you.
Yeah, it's
guys
getting
on
a little
the offensive
better.
line.
I mean, Moton's been a stalwart on the right side. For the most part, Icky's been on the left. Austin Corbett, Cade Mays been in and out of the lineup. Now it's back to Cade Mays at center, Corbett at guard, Damian Lewis, who's also on the injury report with an illness. Some of us are dealing with something right now. This time of year. Yeah, I'm day to day too. But usually that passes and somebody's ready to suit up on Sunday. So I actually would put the Panthers' offensive line as a strength right now, even with all the in and out and different combinations. They're kind of getting back. That's the other part of the icky thing is like they were just getting back to like everybody's back. Rob Hunt, there is some hope left for him at the very end of the season or potential playoff game, but it's been a good offensive line. It doesn't matter how many of the 10 or 11 combinations they've thrown out there.
Nick Carboni on the injury report, but always plays. You don't have to worry about that. With that being said, let's take a quick break. We'll be back here in just 2 minutes here on Panthers on the Plus. Nick Carboni, Nick Sturdivant. We'll be right back, guys. Welcome back, Panthers on the Plus live edition. I'm Nick Sturdivant. That's Nick Carboni. Don't confuse us. We're twins. I know it's hard. I know
it happens a lot at work. Shockingly,
it really does.
In our emails and our teams messages, I just laugh every time.
You just gotta take it a stride.
Hey, I'm happy to be your brother, man. So
hey, man, same here. Let's talk about the Panthers, man. They play the Bucs. Bucs coming to town. I think about this game, and I think about this is back in 2003. Panthers Super Bowl run. The Bucs, man, they were like a year removed.
Oh, it was a huge win for Carolina.
I would love the same thing.
One of the biggest regular season wins in history.
I would love the same thing to happen this weekend, but different team.
It'd be an easier. That was a monumental victory.
Yeah,
Warren Sapp and everybody
on
the Bucs back then. The Carolina's loss at New Orleans hurts in so many different ways, Nick. it takes the keys out of Carolina's hands, even though they have the same record as the Bucs.
Yeah.
The Bucs have this little tiebreaker amongst teams, common opponents, by like a game. So they just have the inside track by just a slight margin. And it also, if you think about it, the Bucs they lost twice. Mm-hmm. Everybody's PO'd in Tampa. They're talking about firing Todd Bowles. They flip on the TV Sunday on their day off and go, oh, okay. No, that stuff doesn't matter anymore. We're back. So they could be buoyed by that. The problem is that doesn't help you play better football, and they have just not played good football. The Panthers have played good football every other week, but the Bucs have lost 6 of 8 now. Their first 3 losses of the season, I believe, were to playoff teams. Mm-hmm. The last 2 are to teams that have been eliminated from the NFC South in Atlanta and New Orleans.
Yeah.
Their defense just looks like they don't know what they're doing on the back end, and that's Todd Bowles' specialty.
Right.
Baker Mayfield's got a banged-up left shoulder. Obviously, he throws with the right, but his ability and willingness to move around and make that Baker magic. I think one of the Panthers players said, he doesn't slide. Panthers got nailed for the penalty on a sliding quarterback. They're like, Baker doesn't slide, but he's not getting out of the pocket to even get to that point. So they can be had right now. And the Panthers play well at home. Mm-hmm. It's not for all the marbles like it was going to be, but it's for some of them. I mean, you got to win this. The Panthers' playoff chance goes from like 25 to 5% or something like that. Mm-hmm. If they lose this game, there's still a chance to get in after losing this, but you don't want to, mess with that scenario. So I like the comparison based on the team.
Yeah.
The division was a little better then. You're talking about a division, Nick, where the team with the worst overall record has the best division record. If it was just based on division record, New Orleans would be going to the playoffs.
Yeah.
They're the team that wants to win this division the most these last few weeks. But somebody's got to win it, and Carolina might be here a step earlier than people thought. They've just got to seize it now.
You mentioned this earlier, flags. I mean, it just felt like undisciplined. I mean, not even take away the Tyler Shough penalty at the end. I mean, some of the flags were just
So here's an interesting thing. Most teams, and the Panthers do this as well, as part of their team meetings during the week, they say, "Here's our officiating crew." The Nick Sturdivant crew throws tons of flags.
Yeah.
So we have to be careful about, using our hands as defensive backs, hands to the face as defensive linemen, whatever the trends are with that crew. So the Panthers knew about that crew. And this crew in particular this weekend throws a lot of pass interference calls. So Mike Evans is going to be begging for those. They are going to take shots to Mike Evans down the field, and he, and J.C. Horn, he doesn't get the benefit of those calls too often, so he's going to have to be really careful. You may see a lot more laundry this weekend too if the Panthers aren't careful. There were a lot of 15-yard calls. I mean, Ike Ekwonu shoving Cam Jordan, which I actually did not have a problem with. I don't think a lot of Panthers fans did. Even though maybe it wasn't the latest hit on Bryce Young. Obviously, the Lathan Ransom penalty. But there was one drive that seemed to take 45 minutes for the Saints because of all the penalties on both sides. Yeah. You got to clean it up. And the Panthers, I think, are the third least penalized team in the league this year. So it was out of character for them. I think it was a product of the crew, the hostility in the crowd, just the hostile nature of playing the Saints in the Superdome, the dogfight that it always is to play the Saints, and obviously, a crucial mistake by a rookie at the end of the game. They gave New Orleans 103 yards in penalties. We haven't seen that from this team, so I wouldn't expect it to be that bad this week, I hope, because nobody wants to watch that, but it is going to be something that we're looking at this Sunday is those pass interference possibilities.
And we heard from Coach Canales today on the gravity of this game.
Listen, Dave Canales, and this is part of what, even in an up and down year, his players say keeps them from snowballing and piling up losses, is that he is the same guy every day, every week, no matter what the result from the week before was. And that's usually a sign of a good coach. He always tells us it's every week is a championship opportunity. I'm sure, we kind of roll our eyes at that, but it is true. You do have to take it week to week. But he and some of the players in the locker room today did admit, no, we know what's at stake this weekend. Take a listen.
It is obvious now for the division right in front of us, this opportunity and how huge it is, and I can feel a sense that the players feel that and see that and know that. We can't let that be a distraction. We can't make it more than it is. It's about us executing. It's about us playing clean football, getting rid of some of the things that showed up last week and making sure that we play our best brand. And I can stand in front of the group and say, when we play good football, we can beat anybody. And that's a true statement for this group, and I'm proud that we've worked ourselves to that point. But we got to make it happen. We got to bring it to Sunday.
It's wrong to ignore it. You have to look at it for what it is, and you have to go and accept the fact that we've put ourselves in this situation of we can go win the division and we have to go do it. This is how we got to do it. It's right in front of us. And so to look away from that, ignore it, I think is a wrong way of handling it. We've given ourselves this pressure, and I think that's a privilege in itself.
They say the right things.
Well, yeah, and I think Austin Corbett, the center who spent time with the Rams, like he's a veteran. You know, he knows how important this stretch is. And a lot of the other veterans, even ones that have been in Carolina for 5-6 years that haven't tasted playoffs, they know what a big opportunity this is. It's trying to get everybody focused and on the same page to know, like, no more oops, no more my bad. Like, you got to perform and execute in these crucial situations. You know, when Mike Jackson pops a ball loose from somebody, the linebackers got to recover it.
Come on, Roseman.
Some of those things happen in the Saints game. So it is going to come down to those handful of plays the next 3 weeks. And the Panthers, if they want to go to where they want to go, they got to make them.
I guess what's the temperature in the DB room? I look at a guy like J.C. Horn, where Chris Olave was just non-existent for 3 quarters and then appeared magically at the end of the game. And J.C. is known for taking chances. He's aggressive. He doesn't get a lot of one-on-one opportunities, but when we've seen it, it hasn't looked the greatest.
I think the temperature in the DB room is running really hot. I think they're really mad at themselves for the game the other day. That last drive, the game-tying drive by the Saints, in which Tyler Shuck carved that zone apart. They couldn't get another set of personnel on the field because the Saints were going tempo. They couldn't get a new call on the field. And then in the last play, Olave beats J.C. Horn, which has been a trend this season. J.C. Horn and Mike Jackson were not available in the locker room after the game. J.C. said on Monday, we were so mad at the opportunity we blew. You know, basically we couldn't bring ourselves to face it that day. So I think they're coming in with a chip on their shoulder. They have a tall task ahead of them, literally. I mean, Mike Evans is a future Hall of Famer. I know he's older. I know maybe he's slowed up by this recent injury. Dave Canales still says, yeah, he's still a physical dude. So J.C. Horn and Mike Jackson are going to have to match that. They're 2 of the tallest, most physical corners in the league. But then you've got Chris Godwin, who can still get it done. You've got Emeka Egbuka, who right now he and T-Mac McMillan are neck and neck in that offensive rookie of the year race. So they've got weapons. And Baker, you know, as long as he's got time to protection, it's his left shoulder, not his right, that's hurt, so he can deliver. So those DBs have to be on their game. Again, they have to watch the PI. And, you know, the safeties have to do their part too. Merrick and Nick Scott, they've been pretty good this year. So I'm interested to see how all those guys match up with the Bucs' weapons. We haven't seen the Bucs, obviously, with this iteration of the Panthers' defense and secondary. You know, Mike Evans, I think, has the longest catch of his career. 75 yards was against one of those bad Carolina secondaries. It should be a little different tomorrow. And Ejiro Evero, I mean, he is the coordinator. He is like the king of, like, bend, but don't break. That red zone defense, it tightens up normally. So, you know, they're going to try to keep things in front of them and then really bear down on you once you get inside the 20.
I got thoughts. Let's take a quick break. I got more thoughts, but let's take a quick break. We'll be back here in just 2 minutes here on Panthers on the Plus. Nick Carboni, Nick Sertivant. Welcome back here on Panthers on the Plus. I'm Nick Sturdivant. Nick Carboni is also here. We're doing it live. I asked you this question at the beginning of the show. Is Bryce Young the guy? Is he the guy?
Man, I'd love to ask Dan Morgan that right now. It's interesting. So there's two potential contractual things that could happen in the next year or so. One of them is going to happen by this spring, and that's the decision on Bryce Young's fifth-year option. Rookie first-round picks get a 4-year contract with a fifth-year club option. So that would hit in 27. Next year's his 4th season. But the deadline for it is around draft time this spring. And I think the Panthers are going to pick that up. Bryce Young, I know this season has been inconsistent, up and down. Sometimes I think that's him. Sometimes I think that's the play calling. Sometimes I think that's a young receiver core. I think there's a lot of factors. He has his bright moments have gotten even a little bit brighter this year. You look at that Rams game, 2 4th down, just put the ball in his hands, and he's going to throw a touchdown pass against LA. It's a relatively cheap option year. It's 25, 28 million. I mean, for a starting caliber quarterback in the NFL, which he has proven to be right now, you take that. The other thing, Nick, is we talked about all the quarterbacks they're about to face. Baker, Sam, Baker, maybe Teddy. Like, do you want to jump back onto that quarterback carousel without a clear path to a new potential franchise quarterback, which they do not have right now because they're drafting between like 15 and depending on if they make the playoffs somewhere else. So I think they pick up the option. Now, the other scenario is he plays so well these last 3 games and a playoff game, and he would have to play lights out. They extend him, or they extend him at some point next year when they decide, like, yes, you're the guy. Because if you let him play it all the way through that 5th-year option year, then you're gambling that he could go somewhere else and be great like half these other quarterbacks that leave here are.
I think you do have to bring in a viable backup, a guy who could put some heat on Bryce.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I think we saw in the Buffalo game this year that Andy Dalton's not that guy anymore.
No.
So, yeah, I mean, there's definitely going to be some mid-round options, some lower-cost free agents coming out in this free agent class. That
Malik Willis.
And Willis has been really, intriguing in Green Bay. I absolutely think that's the move. I mean, you have to put pressure on Bryce Young to prove once and for all if he's the franchise quarterback. But as it stands right now, I think that Penn is like on top of the 5th-year option. It hasn't signed it yet.
I'm not mad. Look, I give Dan Morgan an A. I mean, for what it's worth, I give him an A.
He's improved the defense.
Yeah.
He built out the offensive line.